Hi beautiful people, today I'm super happy to see you for this new video. Today we're gonna make a crazy synth sample together, and along the video I'm gonna show you some cool tips that I use every time and it's helped me personally a lot. So let's go make a crazy sample together. So for this sample I'm gonna start with the chord progression. So for start the chord progression I always select the scale that I want, and personally the scale help a lot to make the first chord. So for the first chord it's just super simple to do. You just need to select one note randomly in the scale, and every time skip one note into the scale, up, skip one note like this, and you have your first chord. So now for the second chord, it's just super easy, and the tricks that I love to do is just duplicate your first chord and put the highest note one more semitone like this. And to amplify the contrast between the chords, I just put this note 12 less semitone like this. Okay, now we have the foundation of the chord progression, and now we're gonna make the chord progression more alive. So a trick that I love to do to add some dynamism in my chord progression is create a gap between the chords. Up like this, and here I'm gonna put another chord, just make the transition between this chord to this chord. So the thing that I'm gonna do is just duplicate this chord up like this and put this chord one less semitone, boom, like this, and put the note off scale in the scale. Another trick that I love to use when I want to make some more variation into the chord progression is just amplify the last chord. So how to do this is just super simple. It's the same process to make the first chord. You just take this note and go down, skip again one note into the scale. So now I want to amplify all the chords, so the thing that I'm gonna do is just take one note for each of chords and just put this 12 less semitone. You know, way more powerful. And now I'm gonna do the same for some high notes. So it's the same process, just take some random note for each of chords and put those notes up 12 more semitone. Okay, now the chords is way more interesting, but I want to add some little variation here and there. Specifically here, you know, it's a little bit empty. So for this, I just love to use one trick. It just select some notes into the first chord and put this into the middle of the lastest chord. But now I want to make this chord more organic, so the thing that I'm gonna do is just create some little gap for each of notes into this chord progression. So now we have the first part of the chord progression, and a cool trick that I use every time to complete this chord progression is just duplicate this chord and add some variation in the highest note and the lowest note. So maybe I'm gonna take this note and just up, go down like this, maybe delete this one, go down like this, and go down like this. The thing that I love to do with this technique is you don't need to change the foundation of your chords, you just need to add some little note here and there, and it makes something just totally different. And you know, the brain just loves the repetition, and you know, here you have something just super repetitive, but the brain also loves to be surprised, and it's why we just change up the highest note and the lowest note. And with that, your chord progression gonna be more coherent and more vibrant, more alive, more organic, and I think is a really good technique to have some powerful chords. Okay, so now the thing that I'm gonna do is amplify the sound that I use. So for this, I'm gonna layer this sound with some other sounds. Okay, so I skipped this part for you, but basically the thing that I do is just duplicate the same chord but with some different sounds. The first sound I use is Demon from my Analog Lab Bank. By the way, all the sound that I'm gonna use in this video from my Analog Lab Bank. For the second layer, I use this preset. For another layer, I use this preset from my Analog Lab Bank, and is the sound I use for the final layer. And like you see, for each of sound, I just play with the volume, and I also play with the panoramic. Okay, now I want to play with the texture of the sound, so the thing that I'm gonna do is play with some automation. And with this technique you can make your sound way more alive. So the parameter that I love to use is the character, and if I do something just like this, you know, it's a micro detail, but if you do this for each of sound that you layered, all the chord progression gonna be way more organic, and it's just super interesting to play with this. And now we need to support everything with a bass. So for the bass, I just use a trick that I use every time. It just duplicate up the chords like this and use only the lowest notes like this, and is the sound that I'm gonna use for the bass. But now I want to make this bass way more interesting. So the thing that I'm gonna do is layer this bass up like this. And for the layer, I use a sound just super crispy, super saturate. And for layer the first bass with the second bass, the thing that I do is for the layer, I just put this in the sample bus. Basically in the sample bus, I just put this EQ. The only thing that I do is just boost some little frequencies, but the main thing is just cut the low end up like this. And for all the sound that we don't need to use the lowest frequencies, I just put them into this bus, and it's gonna make your sample more clean. Now I want to make this bass more alive, more organic, so the thing that I'm gonna do is again add a layer, but here is gonna be a little bit different. I'm just gonna select some special parts, you know, to amplify with another bass. So is the preset that I use. I choose this bass because it have a lot of character and is what I want. Again, put this in the sample bus, and all the sound together sound like this. And now to finish the sample, we need to add some crazy lead. So for the first lead, I'm gonna use this preset, and I just add this reverb, just make the sound more spacious. And the tricks that I use for the lead is just super simple. Take 2 notes randomly into the scale, like this, and just play with some short note and long note, like this. And after this, the thing that I do every time is just put this up or down, and maybe at the end just add some long notes. Okay, and here I'm gonna add some little variation like this maybe. Okay, so I love this lead just for the first part, but we miss another lead for the second part. So it's the sound that I'm gonna use for the second lead. Another trick I love to do with some lead is take 1 note randomly in the scale and just go down, go up, go down, go up, and repeat the process. Okay, so I skipped this part, but basically it's the same process. Just go down, go up, and maybe at the end, if you want, you can just add some long note like this. And the tricks that I love to do is anticipate the lead. So the thing that I'm gonna do is just take some notes like this, just go up to anticipate this lead, just to anticipate this note here and anticipate the lead. So thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you learned something or just enjoyed the video. If you want the same sound that I use, the link is in the description. Like, comment, subscribe, it just helps so much. Thank you again for watching this video, and I see you in another video. Peace.